We had to restart this because Jordan, my engineer, kind of misled me. But at any rate, let's talk about some of the things I gave you the previews on the other day. The state of our nation is horrible. Not only are we split politically, but our leaders are generally thoughtless, shameless, greedy, stupid. And I'd like to start right now at stupid. We currently have a president who thinks that he can communicate like the local mafia don. Hey, fuck you. It's no way to conduct business when you're the leader of the greatest nation on earth, which at this point is questionable. However, that being said, his lack of decorum is stupid. It doesn't help anything. He speaks to nations like that. He speaks to wholesome people like that. And we should not be proud of what is going on in America. That's number one. Number two, I think while for the time being, we should rename the office of the presidency to the office of Homeland Stupidity. Now, I'm all for his bombing of the Iran nuclear sites, but I'm certain that the way he operates and the way his cabinet and teams operate probably was not executed to the best of its ability. And one reason I say that is it's still being disputed as to how effective this bombing campaign was, and that still remains to be seen. I applaud him for not kicking that political can down the road, but I guess it's always in the execution, right? The devil's in the details. So we have to wait and see. But as far as his actions at home, sending the Marines to Los Angeles, bad move. I think I learned in government class or history class that American troops were never to be put on American soil to stand up against other Americans. And that I also recall learning that the National Guard fell under the auspices and control of the every state's governor. So, overstepping his bounds and trying to muddy the waters in terms of what the hierarchy and structure of government is leads me to the one conclusion which I was fearful of during his first campaign, that Donald J. Trump is only interested in becoming King Donald J. Trump or dictator Donald J. Trump. And he has all of his sycophants lined up and living in fear that if they don't toe the line or his line, that they will be excommunicated from their current positions. This is a dangerous circumstance in the United States. And I think everybody, regardless of a particular policy or a particular complaint, I mean, I'm angry because truthfully, I'm more afraid than I am angry at the way we're going and at the speed we're achieving that failure. But I think all Americans need to stand up and say, I don't want to govern over the personal lives of every American. There are many issues that should be left to the Americans, whether it's privacy related or so forth. But look, everybody's going to have different opinions on abortion. Everybody's going to have different opinions on what a family is. Everybody's going to have different opinions on weapons. And I don't think these things should derail the common good of our nation, and they shouldn't be exploited by politicians to create more divide and more animosity among the citizenry. It's a bad fucking time. And I think that these government officials really don't get it. The state of the world is fragile. You got China, you got North Korea, you got Russia, Iran, and a whole host of others, and Hungary and Belarus. And You name it, I could keep going. But all around the world, the move to the right and to ultra nationalistic kind of philosophies are endangering all of us. And they're endangering our future, they're endangering our children, potentially, and grandchildren. So, America, you better stand up and start speaking your mind. And this is not who's got the loudest voice or the biggest gun. This is about how do we raise everybody up in this nation? How do we educate? How do we provide health care? How do we do things that make a society and keep a society great? And we are fucking losing that battle. And primarily because we have the greediest motherfuckers of all political time, driving this train. So it's a terrible thing. I have gotten feedback from many, many listeners. I love the feedback. I think that let's get it all out, people. Let me know what you're angry about. Let me know how you think I'm, where I'm wrong, off base. And let's talk about this stuff, because if we carry it around, the lid will blow off. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. And as far as the Office of Homeland Stupidity, we should all pray that he just takes a good nap and wakes up in a better mood. Maybe his wife will talk to him about not being such a bully. I don't know. But I pray that we get through the balance of his terms without any more major crises and without our military being used against American citizens and even the illegal immigrants that have come here, the vast majority of which are decent people who just want decent lives. So, I'm not quite sure how to solve the problem of illegal immigration, but arresting them, splitting up their kids, having militia groups and gangs of people beating up on somebody that's mowing your lawn, that's no way to conduct ourselves as a nation or as a people. So, we got to figure out better ways. And again, let me get all the feedback I can. I'm interested in everybody's viewpoint on these things. And write me, call me, email me. We're going to have an app in a couple of weeks, and you could just complain right into that app, right out of your mouth, directly into that app. And maybe you'll feel better after you let loose a little bit. But the tendency for ugly anger and violence and terrifying your neighbor is not a way to conduct yourself. So I wish us all the luck in the world. And I hope that our current president enjoys eating McDonald's and continues to do so. Thank you.